I spoke with someone who believes it could have been them in that room, that she was trafficked repeatedly down to Epstein's and in Florida, and she was brought into red rooms. And red rooms, I've heard horrible things about. And if you look in the Epstein files, there are reports about red rooms and what goes on in these rooms. So Lisa, my recruiter, comes and slams that door, and she was like, do not go in any rooms. Just stay right here. So at that point, I'm standing there, and she's off talking to someone over on my right. And Ghislaine Maxwell comes down the pink spiral staircase. It was the pink carpeting at this time. And at the top of the staircase, there's a whole bunch of people in the house too, and in the foyer and stuff. Like, there's just a ton of people there, and it's loud and noisy. And she's at the top of the stairs, and she like makes an announcement. She gets everyone's attention, and she says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I will have an announcement to make. I just got off the phone with Donald Trump, and we are all invited to move the party over to Mar-a-Lago via personal invitation of Donald Trump, and he will be meeting us there. He'll be greeting us there." Basically, at that point, she was like, "Everyone go out. We're leaving right now." And I was excited. I'd never been to Mar-a-Lago, and this party was so weird. Like, there was no like drinks or food or anything. And I did not understand what kind of party it was. So I thought, oh, well, maybe Mar-a-Lago's will be much better. There'll be like entertainment and like, I'll understand this event better. Mm-hmm. So Ghislaine makes that announcement. She's coming down the stairs. Lisa comes over, and I go, "Oh my God, we're going to Mar-a-Lago." And Lisa goes, "Who told you that? Who said that? Who invited you?" And at this point, Ghislaine Maxwell is literally passing me. She's walking to the front door, and she's escorting people out. And I made it a point to say it loud enough so that she would hear and override my friend, who I thought was blocking me from going. Mm-hmm. I believe it was only because I was not drugged that she blocked me from going. So I don't want anyone thinking that she is a good person. She might be, but she's born into it. And I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea that she was protecting me in any way. I was not complying, and therefore protected myself, and was no longer handleable, and they had to get me out of there. So Lisa comes up and says that, and Ghislaine's walking by with an earshot, and I said, "She did. She announced that everyone's invited to go to Mar-a-Lago." And then Ghislaine turns to me, and she touched the back of my arm, and she says, "Yes, you're invited. Everyone's invited." And she goes back to assisting people, corralling them out the door, and driving off. And Lisa says to me, she goes, "She wasn't talking about us." And I said, "Well, she just said that we could go, and I'd like to go." And then Lisa goes, "They're just looking for prostitutes." And that came out of nowhere. And I go, my response to her was, "There's like a literal 100 people at this party." And I said it bluntly and facetiously. I said, "Well, I don't think Donnie can fuck all of us. Like, I'm not afraid, and I don't like how you're handling me." Mm-hmm. And then that's when she immediately cuts to, she says, "Molly, it's not safe. It gets rough quick." And I'm like, what does that mean? So she tells me at this point, she says, "Let's go back to my house. Let's look through Forbes magazine and look for more millionaires, billionaires to look at." And because she would flip through them, and she had her eyes set on some heir to Gillette at the time. And she would flip through Forbes magazine, and she would show me like Ava Dubbin and her husband. And she would talk about how jealous she was and that she didn't deserve